So let's see if we can get them together. Did you get a cup? Yes, hopefully you got the cup. Okay. And some syrup? Yes. And some lentils? And these are red blood cells, so don't try to eat them. Yep, good. And some lima beans, otherwise known as white blood cells. Did everybody get those things? And then hopefully you got some bandages, some 4x4 gauze, and some wrap for your injuries. Perfect. So it looks like you all have an assistant with you. So kids, your parents are going to be your patients today. So don't let them leave. Okay. All right. You could do your own, but it's way more fun to do it to whoever's with you. So if you want to grab a partner, go ahead. Okay. So let me make sure everybody's still with me here. This virtual business is different for some of us, but this is probably how some of you have been learning for quite some time now. So you probably know how to do it better than I do even. All right, okay. Well, we'll keep moving on here. You guys let me know if you have any questions or anything, okay? You can type them in, or you can unmute yourself at the bottom and go ahead and just ask any questions that you might have, okay? Should be a fun day here. Hold on, let me just check a couple of things. Nope, I don't want to do that. Let's see. Okay. All right. So, I'm used to doing this with people sitting in the room with me. So this is a little different, of course. I will introduce myself. My name is Brandy Vercondi. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for almost, it'll be 20 years this year. So a long time. Mostly I have worked with moms and delivering babies and taking care of small babies. But one of the other cool parts of being a nurse is I am also an EMT and get to ride on the ambulance crew. So a little bit different than working in the hospital, but same amount of fun. So a lot of what I deal with in my world is blood, bleeding, illness, and patients being sick because something's off in their blood. So everything that is part of us and how we breathe and how we feel and how we heal is related to our blood. So blood makes up about 7% of the human body. And who can tell me, there's 4 parts to your blood. You have them there in front of you. Who can tell me what one part is? Yep, go ahead and unmute yourself, buddy. Can you do that? Yep, red blood cells. That's one part. Okay. What's another part?
Platelets.
Platelets. Yes, red blood cells, platelets. And the third part? Go ahead.
White blood cells.
White blood cells. And what's the fourth part? You got the cells. Anybody know? It's the serum, right? The part that has all the other nutrients for our body, like the sugar, the hormones, the proteins, the things we eat, and it pulls it out of our food and takes it all through the body to our organs and our brain and things like that. So in every blood cell, there's the serum, the red blood cell, the white blood cells, and the platelets, okay? So what about what each of those things do. Okay, so if you spun your blood down and you had these 4 different areas of the blood, what do our red blood cells do?
Carry oxygen around the body.
They carry oxygen around the body, right? So what would happen if you got a serious injury and you were losing all your red blood cells? How would you feel?
You would be getting hypoxia.
You would get hypoxia. That's exactly right. And when you're hypoxic, so if you lose red blood cells, you lose oxygen. And if your brain doesn't have oxygen, then you feel like dizzy, lightheaded, you don't feel well. And if your brain doesn't have oxygen, then the rest of your body doesn't have oxygen. And so your body starts to get really sick from that, just from losing some red blood cells. Okay. What about the white blood cells? What do they do for us?
They're our immune system protecting all the blood cells and your organs from infections.
That's exactly right. They're your anti-infection. They're your bacteria-eating cells, those big white blood cells. So our red blood cells carry oxygen through the body. Our white blood cells fight bacteria and foreign invaders. So anything that gets into our bodies. So if you get a cold, like a virus, stuffy nose, what do you think is happening with those white blood cells? Are they building?
They're fighting.
They're fighting. Yep. And are there more of them or less of them? More, right? So they're building, trying to help you get to feeling better. Okay, so we got the white and the red. What about those platelets? What do those platelets do for us?
They clot.
They clot the blood, right? So raise your hand if you've ever had a bloody nose. Yep. What about if you've cut your finger, cut your toe, scraped your elbow? Anybody? Everybody done that? Right? What, have you lost a tooth? Have you lost a tooth? Raise your hand. Yeah. Did it bleed? Sometimes, yep. You cut your finger, it bleeds. If you scrape your elbow riding your bike, it bleeds. If you've had a bloody nose. So what do those platelets do?
They stop the bleeding.
They stop the bleeding, right? So if you're having a bloody nose, all those platelets that are inside your vessels come to they come to your area of bleeding and they start to try to stop the bleeding, right? They clot the blood. Okay, so you're bleeding. Those platelets come through and they try to stop it. So the bleeding stops. Okay, otherwise we just bleed and never stop bleeding. So we need those platelets in our bodies. And then the serum is like if you took your blood and spit it all out, the serum would be this yellow substance that contains all the other nutrients that are needed for your body to function, essentially. So extremely important stuff, right? So if you started to bleed, you could potentially lose those things in your body, right? And that's why we feel yucky when we don't feel well, or if we start to bleed, we sometimes don't feel well because we're losing all those nutrients in our bodies too. Okay, so super important stuff. Let's see. So you got your little cup here, right? So get that cup out if you got it. Good. Did you guys all get it? Okay, you got your cup? All right. So if you have your cup, go ahead and let's pour this in here. Okay, so first of all, we're going to pour in the serum. Okay, so go ahead and make that blood cell. So pour some of that in there. You can fill it. Let's fill it about 1/3 of the way up. So then you can see the cells in there. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, so there's the serum alone without any of the platelets, red blood cells, or white blood cells in it. Okay. You got that. All right. So then we'll go little to big. We'll take some of our platelets, and let's take just like a handful of platelets and just pour them in there. Okay, you can kind of swish it around like that, try to get them to fall in there a little bit. If you have a spoon or something you can stir it with, you can go ahead and do that too. If you have something there with you. Usually we use our a pencil or a straw or something in class when we're together. So you've got your platelets in there. So let's add our red blood cells. So take some of those red blood cells and go ahead and pour them in there. And last, we'll grab some of our white beans for our white blood cells. Okay. Now, if you have a little stir, you can kind of stir it around a little bit. A spoon or a pencil or a straw or something. You could, I wouldn't encourage you to use your fingers so much because this stuff is pretty sticky and messy. So maybe try to use something other than that to stir it up. So then it looks like this. That is your blood cells. How cool is that? And after a while, they kind of just start sinking down through there. But in one drop of blood, all of that exists in one tiny of blood. Isn't that pretty fascinating? So let's imagine, okay, so we know that our white blood cells fight bacteria, our platelets clot our blood, our red blood cells carry our oxygen to the tissues and the organs, right? And our plasma transports nutrients through the body, electrolytes, things like that. I'm gonna have you guys open your eyes big. Look at me. Now blink. Open. You just made 2 million red blood cells. 2 million. 2 million red blood cells every second. Isn't that crazy? So open your eyes, blink, open. You just made 2 million more red blood cells. Those little red ones in there that are circulating around. 2 million every second. That means you make 200 billion of them every day. 200 billion. So isn't that fascinating? So imagine your body, and this is a liter of blood right here. Okay, so I'll stand up so you can see me. A liter of blood. Okay, so if this is my arm, you can kind of see how big this bottle is here. Do you think we have, raise your hand up high if you think we have more blood than that, or put your thumb down low if you think this is all the blood we have. So thumb up if you think it's more, thumb down if you think that's it. If you think that's the whole entire amount of blood we have in our body. Okay? All right. So it's more than that. All right. So here's 2 liters. Do you think we have more, or that's it? More, or that's it? More? Okay. There's 3 liters. Do you think we have more, or that's it? What do you guys think? You think this is all the blood we have in our body, or you think it's more? Let's see what everybody's saying. More, or that's it? Think more? All right. How about now? There's 4 liters. You think it's more? Or you think that's it? More, or that's it? More? Okay. There's 5 liters. That's a lot of blood. Now, do you guys think that's it, or you think there's more? That's it or more? Dad says more. What do you guys think? More? More? All right. There's 6 liters. 6 liters. What do you guys think? So the human body has about 6 liters for kids your age. And for dads or like bigger men, as they get older, they have about 8. So it's about 6 to 8. So this amount of blood right here is about how much blood you guys have in your entire body. Okay. So you can imagine if you get a really, really bad injury and you're bleeding super bad, okay, it doesn't take long to lose that amount of blood. So that gives you a little idea of how that looks in your body. Okay. All right. So we have about 5 minutes. So I'm going to have you look at my guy right here. He's kind of a sick guy. Okay. You guys see him okay? See, he's bleeding really bad. So this right here is a cut to his head. And you see him there? He's got a really bad bleed to his head. Okay. Do you guys think that you could put, now we should all know that when you cut your head, it has a lot of vascular capillaries in it. So it will bleed and bleed and bleed. Do you think that we could just put this on him? No, right? No. What do you think we need to do? How do you think we're going to get that head to stop bleeding?
Give him stitches.
Give him stitches. Well, we've got to stop it first, right? How do we stop it?
Put pressure on it.
We could put pressure on it. Could we use this tourniquet? Can you tourniquet his head to make him stop bleeding?
Put water on him.
Put water on him. Just put him in the bathtub.
Gauze. Gauze.
Gauze, right? Yep. So did you guys get some gauze? Perfect. Do you have a partner? If you have a partner, you can stop their bleeding. If not, you can do your own.
It's on my hand.
So if you have somebody that will help you, go ahead and grab them. Okay, so this is the fun part. All right, so let's imagine you're whoever's with you, mom, dad, or sister, brother, or friend, or grandma, grandpa. They fell. Let's imagine, okay? This is what happened today. You guys were playing at the park, and it's a snowy day, and the slide was a little icy, but you told mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, or your brother, sister, hey, run up the slide. Come on, you can do it, right? And they ran up and they bonked their head and they cut their head on the top of the slide and fell back down, and all the sand and the rocks and the dirt and all that stuff laying on the ground got in that owie, got in there, okay? So it's bleeding really bad, guys, and they need your help, okay? So let's help them out. Their head's bleeding really bad. What do we have to do? Call 911. Yes. First of all, call 911. Very good. Okay. Yes. And then we have to help stop that bleed. So let's put some pressure on it. Go ahead and put pressure on their heads, everybody. Hurry, hurry, hurry. We don't want them to bleed. Okay. Now take your Coban tape. If you got Coban or this guy's here, and we got to wrap up those heads, guys. Wrap up those heads. Wrap them up. Stop those bleeds. Let me see your work. Good stuff. Yep, and I forgot to mention too, you got to probably put that glove on if you got a glove. Put that glove on, hold pressure, stop the bleeding. Let me see your good wraps. We call this the Gable Wrap in Iowa. So if you guys are wrestling fans, you might have seen this one once or twice. Gable Wrap some heads today. Perfect. Good job. Let me see. Oh, good work, guys. These look great. Yes, I love it. Good job. Just tear it. So after you get it wrapped, just tear it and it will actually stick to each other. Yep. Good work. Everybody looks really good. You guys saved your patients today. Nice job. How's everybody look? Good job. Yes, give them hugs and kisses. They did good work. Yes. Perfect. I love it. You guys did some good stuff today. Okay, so let's say, okay, we fixed that head, right? We can't tourniquet the head, can we? All right, well, let's just say, okay, that we just got a little scratch on the elbow and it was bleeding a little bit, okay? And we fell down that slide and it was dirty. The snow was dirty. There's grass, there's wood chips, all kinds of stuff happening, right? So we have this big one on our head that's bleeding. Okay, we have this one on our elbow that's bleeding. What is happening right now in our bodies? What's happening?
Emergency mode.
Emergency room. We're in the ambulance, right? We're going to the emergency room. But what's our blood doing? What are our red blood cells doing?
Clotting.
Red blood cells. What are the red blood cells doing? Are they carrying oxygen to the area, right? Because we need oxygen to heal, don't we? Right? Do you think you might be breathing a little fast? How's your patient? Is your patient scared? Are they breathing fast? Are they crying? Do you have any crying patients? Anybody? What happens when you cry, guys? Right? Do you think you need a little extra oxygen? Probably do, right? So it's carrying oxygen to the injury and it's helping, you're using more oxygen. So those red blood cells are working extra hard to get oxygen. Right? What are those platelets doing? What are those little platelets doing?
Clotting.
They are clotting and they're working in overdrive, right? Because this guy's bleeding a lot and you got this one right here. What about those white blood cells? You got dirt and rocks. And what are those white blood cells doing in your body right now? Those big ones.
Making sure there's no infection.
Right? They're starting to fight that infection. They're coming right there already. They're already there. The minute it happens, they come right to those sites and start fighting any outside bacteria that you might have come encounter with, like the dirt and the rocks and the wood and stuff. They're fighting. They're saying, get out of my body, bacteria. You don't belong in here. Okay. And then the plasma comes and brings all the nutrients that you need, that you're losing through the blood and that you need to heal. So anytime you have a bleed or an injury or anything, know that one little tiny drop of blood is carrying all these in there to help you guys start to heal faster, stop bleeding, prevent infection, and get that good oxygen delivery to the wound and throughout your body. So awesome work, guys. I think 11 o'clock. I think we have a couple minutes left. I usually have this little question here, this little questionnaire that I usually ask at the end. Okay. So it's just like a little recap, right? So the blood's made up of 4 things, right? So plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Okay. And we know the white blood cells do the bacteria. The platelets help the blood clot. The red blood cells carry the oxygen and the serum, the watery stuff that we put in first. that carries all the other nutrients throughout the whole entire body that you need to survive. And we know that you have about 6 quarts, 6 liters of water in your body. And blood circulates through the body 3 times per, 1 is minute, 2 is hour, 3 is day. Blood circulates 3 times per, 1 if you think it's minute, 2 times if you think it's hour, or 3 if you think it circulates 3 times per day through the whole body. What do you guys think? Show me your fingers. Good job. Yep. Circulates 3 times per minute. So every minute that blood circulates throughout your whole entire body. All these liters of blood throughout your whole entire body. 3 times every minute. It's going all the way through the brain and through the organs. Do you guys know, we didn't talk about this, but how long a red blood cell lives in your body? These little red ones, they don't live forever. Do you know how often they regrow and die and come back? Anybody know? About once, or they live about 120 days or 4 months in the body, and then they die out and we make new ones. So your red blood cells only live about 4 months and then you get new ones. But if you blink and make 1 million of them or 2 million of them, you can see how we need room for more, don't we? So that is all I have today, guys. I hope you had a good time. I hope your patients are feeling better. Take good care of them today, okay? And you guys let me know if you have any questions, okay?